I never imagined the person I trusted most would become the greatest danger to my family. My wife thought we were driving to celebrate our grandson's birthday, but halfway there, a strange feeling hit me so hard that I told her, "Turn the car around right now." She didn't ask questions. She simply trusted me. Minutes later, we discovered that one decision had saved our lives. What I uncovered afterward destroyed everything I believed about my own son. My name is Michael. My wife, Josephine, and I had always believed family came first. Our son, Joseph, had invited us to his new home for what he called a surprise family dinner. He sounded excited on the phone, but something about his voice felt forced. I tried to ignore it because no father wants to suspect his own child. As we drove toward his house, my phone suddenly lost signal. The GPS started taking us down an unfamiliar road surrounded by empty fields. I noticed there were no other cars, no houses, no lights, just silence. Then I remembered something Joseph had said the night before. He insisted we leave our phones at home because he wanted everyone to disconnect from technology. At the time it sounded harmless. Now it terrified me. A cold feeling rushed through my body. Every instinct screamed that something was terribly wrong. I looked at my wife and said, "Turn around, right now." She looked confused but trusted me without hesitation. She made a U-turn and drove back toward the highway. Less than 5 minutes later, we saw flashing police lights blocking the road ahead. Officers had stopped several vehicles because an abandoned truck had been found across the road. Hidden inside were armed criminals waiting for wealthy homeowners returning from family gatherings. It was an organized robbery operation. The officer asked where we had been going. When I mentioned my son's address, his expression changed. He quietly asked if my son had recently changed his phone number or started spending time with unfamiliar people. I felt my heart sink. Later that evening, the detectives showed me surveillance footage. Joseph had been meeting with members of the criminal group for weeks. They had convinced him that his parents had enough savings to make them rich. His job was simple: bring us to the isolated location where the gang would rob us. He believed no one would get hurt, but criminals never keep promises. When Joseph realized the police had uncovered the plan, he disappeared. Weeks later, he was arrested while trying to leave the country. During the trial, he cried and begged for forgiveness. He claimed he never wanted anyone to die. He said greed had blinded him and he believed everything would end peacefully. I looked into my son's eyes and realized I no longer recognized the boy I had raised. The court sentenced every member of the gang to prison. As for Joseph, I forgave him in my heart because carrying hatred only destroys the victim. But forgiveness did not erase accountability. My wife and I sold our old house, moved to another city, and started over. People often ask how I knew to turn the car around. The truth is, I still don't fully know. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was years of noticing tiny details without realizing it. Or maybe, sometimes, life gives us one final warning. Whatever it was, listening to that feeling saved our lives. Sometimes the biggest warning signs come from the people we love most. One decision can change your life forever. When the judge announced my son's sentence, the courtroom was silent. Joseph looked at me with tears in his eyes, hoping I would say something that could change everything. But I couldn't. Some choices leave scars that words can never heal. As my wife held my hand, I realized we hadn't just lost our savings or our sense of security. We had lost the son we thought we knew. Months later, we started a new life in another town. Trust is built over a lifetime, yet one moment of greed can destroy it forever. Even today, whenever someone asks me how we escaped that trap, I give the same answer. I listened to the voice inside me that refused to stay silent. If I had ignored it for even one more minute, neither my wife nor I would be here telling this story. So if your heart ever warns you that something isn't right, don't ignore it. That feeling could be the difference between life and death. And remember this: the deepest betrayals don't always come from strangers. Sometimes they come from the people you love the most. But surviving betrayal doesn't mean your story ends there. Sometimes, surviving is where your strongest chapter truly begins. Saved our lives. If this story teaches anything, it's that danger doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes the biggest warning signs come from the people we love most.